Hi, welcome back to the channel, Art of Magic, with me, your host, Jamie Salinas. In this episode, we're going to be talking about things that pack small and play big. Stick around. Alright, welcome back to the channel, and in this episode we're going to be discussing taking your magic and packing it down really small to play for a really large group. Now, one of the many conversations I had with my good friend Bob Cassidy before he passed away is that his material was the same whether if it was for a small group or if it was for a large corporate environment. So he had designed all his minimalism, his material, so it would play for both large and small audiences. And that's kind of what I've been gravitating towards with my material. Now the cruise industry has scaled down all their big shows. The reason being, well, there's a lot more competition. So the cruise ships now are offering cheaper travel vacations. So you can get on these large, huge ships and pay just a little amount. And so what's happening is, because the competition has become so fierce and because of the cost, cruise directors are trying to reduce the amount of shipping costs of all this equipment coming onto their ships. So cruises are hiring more and more stand-up comedy magician performers. So that's really what they're looking for, and that's kind of been driving what the way the industry is going to today. A couple of nights ago, actually about a week ago, I saw Scott Alexander lecture, and Scott brought out the egg bag. But when I saw Scott Alexander bring this little tiny piece of cloth out in a small little egg and talk about how this would play for a small group in a living room to the largest of stages, I started thinking, you know, that's really not a bad idea of investing back my time and effort and money into the egg bag. So I did actually purchase the egg bag from Scott himself. Now, the reason I was interested in the egg bag in the first place is because in my mind I kept thinking, that's going to fit in my case. It takes up no space, next to nothing. In my family audience or family shows, I have a lot of repeat business, so I have to change my material from time to time. And I just looked at this as another opportunity to add some more magic into my shows that packed really, really small. Now, there was recently a discussion on an online social media group about packing really small, and guys were boasting about, I can perform 45 minutes out of a briefcase. And some guys were saying, oh yeah, I can perform an hour and a half out of a cigar case. Then a good friend of mine, David Rangel, said, we all can perform out of a paper bag, but should we? And that brings up a good point. Being clever about packing your material all the way down as small as possible, although that is very clever and a very good idea, we really want to think about the image and how we're perceived. About a year ago, I had a show, and it was on a weekday, and I remember this very vividly. For me, it's on the other side of town. It's over an hour drive, and I'm going to have to be fighting through the morning rush hour traffic. And so I was really paranoid about leaving on time. So I'm not really a morning person. So I got everything all set, everything packed, ready to go. I left it in the entryway of my house. So the morning came, alarm went off, got dressed really quick. I was checking my time. I was doing really good. I jumped in the car, drove over there, and sure enough, lots of traffic. And it slowed me down. So basically I ended up getting to the venue like 20 minutes before showtime. Still not too bad. I still had time to set up. It wasn't a really big group, like 60 or 80 women, mostly women. It was for teachers. And as I get there, I open up the hatch of my car and I go to get my case, and there's no case. That magic case that I packed for the show was still sitting in the entryway of my house. I left without my case. So there I am, no magic. As I'm realizing this, a lady walks up to me and she says, oh, you're the magician. Yes, ma'am, I am. She said, great. Why don't you grab your stuff and come on in, I'll show you where to set up. Great, I'll be there in just a few moments. Now in my mind, of course, I'm panicking. I'm thinking, can I get to Walmart? What am I going to buy? Drugstore, pack of cards, all that kind of thing. Then I started thinking, calm down. I can do this. I can handle this. So in my pocket, my pants pocket, I happen to have a set of my coins for my coins across. So I thought, great, that's a good opener. I can make it play big. It's dollar-sized coins. In the back of my car happened to be my snake basket. Now, I do this a lot in my children's shows and my family shows as well. It's a really great prop, so I thought, perfect, I got an ending, I have a beginning, there's a couple of impromptu mentalism type things I can do. I have a deck of cards on me, and so basically I kind of pieced together some thoughts and ideas, grabbed my snake basket, grabbed the few things that I did have, walked into the event, and the lady says, where are your props? The other magicians had a lot of stuff, and basically this show was going to be touring or going to be held in different cities, in Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and so they hired local magicians from the actual areas to come and perform. The one lady who was in charge of it had traveled to each location, and so she met all these magicians, and she said, well, they all have these big props and a lot of stuff, and I'm walking in with a little bag, and that's it. A bag, that's my whole props. And so I asked for a few things. I got a little small table. I asked for a pad. I asked for a notepad and some pens, a marker, and I was pretty much set up. I ended up doing 45 minutes, and the show went exceptionally well. I didn't panic. I used my years of experience as a performer, and I was able to entertain and amuse that large group with a very small amount of props and a very small, limited amount of items. And after the show, the lady comes up to me and said, out of all the shows that I've seen, you were by far the best magician we've had. Very entertaining, very amazing, very, very good. And so I left there with a really good feeling. And after that, I decided that I would carry a small case inside my car, that I could carry some props with me. And we're going to discuss that case and that little item in an upcoming episode. So make sure you subscribe and tune into the channel. Hit the notification bell. That way you're notified when these new episodes come out. And you can hear about my experience on creating an emergency kit. But back to playing big and packing small. Sometimes I travel, and I like to make sure that all my material is in a carry-on bag with me. I've even cut the tabletop to fit right inside the exact dimensions of my carry-on bag. So the question for you is, I want to know in the comments, what do you do that packs pretty small and plays really big? What kind of material do you use? Things that I use, I have a notepad. It's a 8.5 by 11 sheet of note paper that is also a parapad. That gives me an impression device so I can reveal somebody's birth date, their zodiac sign, all kinds of information. And so that's a really good routine. Using that same notepad, I can perform another routine from a good friend of mine, Jimmy Fingers, called Free Will of Order, just using the notepad, writing down some information. With that notepad, I can also do my lottery prediction. And my lottery prediction lives in my wallet, so I'm always ready to go at a moment's notice, and all I need is a notepad. So with that notepad and that marker, I was able to perform 3 really, really strong type effects. Now, obviously, I didn't have this with me at the show I did for the teachers, but I was still able to do my lottery prediction and the Free Will of Order routine just using that notepad and the marker. So that's really one of the things you want to think about playing really large in economy of using the same props for multiple routines. Again, I want you to start thinking about ways that you can compress your act without taking away from the experience from your spectators. So just because something does pack super flat doesn't mean it always plays really well. So again, I want to know what you do. So write down your comments and let me know what it is or how you have scaled down your show or why you've scaled down your show. I really want to know. Now, what I'm doing a little differently is I'm not going to read all the comments that I get from the previous episode. I'm going to use the comments as a follow-up episode. So there will be a part 2 to this episode, and that's where I'll read your comments. We'll do that next week. So every week now, you're going to get not 1, but 2 videos. One video will be on a brand new topic. The second video is going to be focused on your comments, your thoughts about a subject, something that I've covered in the past. So stick around, and that way you can enjoy those in those episodes and find out what others and what your peers think about these different subjects. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Send me a comment. Hit the bell icon so that way you're notified of when the upcoming episodes will be out. And I look forward to interacting with you. So thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.